From UFOs to psychic powers and government conspiracies, history is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. A production of iHeartRadio.
Hello. Welcome back to the show. My name is Matt.
My name is Noel.
They called me Ben. We're joined, as always, with our super producer, Dylan, the Tennessee pal Fagan. Most importantly, you are you. You are here. That makes this the stuff they don't want you to know. It is time for our weekly listener mail segment. If you are tuning in the evening this publishes, let us welcome you to March 27th, 2025. And what better way to kick this off than to ask old Tennessee his newest interpretation of rutabagas. What do we got, Dylan?
Time to dig up the rutabagas.
Love it. Love it.
Gosh.
Love it. Favorite part of the week, I think, for many of us, perhaps in the crowd tonight. Friends and neighbors, we have several of you on air in our exploration in this evening's program. We're going to talk about astrology and the government. Got a lot of feedback on that. We're going to talk about, we'll have some fun letters from home. We'll talk about bots and post offices. Before we do any of that, I got to tell you guys, I want to brag about a listener who reached out to us and followed up on the idea of a street fighting game for birds.
And made a sort of prototype of it. And didn't you play it, man?
I did play it. I did play the game. And I've got to tell you guys, it's a lot of fun. We're in early days of development. So
you guys are partnered up?
We have to find out, we've got work to do. We just want you to know that this is something very much on the way. Big thanks to Kyle, who listened to one of our recent recordings and said, hey, I'm your Huckleberry. Also, big thanks to the person who pointed out the truth of the Huckleberry quote in Tombstone. They said, Kyle said, I made a Mortal Kombat style game, but with birds. And we got to tell you, folks, it's pretty fun. Hopefully we can follow up with Kyle as the game continues to develop. But for now, maybe we pause for a word from our sponsors and get straight to some more bird stuff.
Yeah. All right, we're back, and Ben, you nailed it. We're going to kick off today's listener mail episode with some bird talk, one of my favorite topics. You guys, I play up the fact that I'm a little bit scared of birds, but I may have also mentioned that my position on birds has softened in the twilight of my life, as I've begun to really enjoy the idea of becoming a birder, because you can observe them from afar. You don't have to get right up and close and personal with them. But I have a couple of friends that are in Brooklyn, New York, and there's apparently real good birding there, in Prospect Park, and so many species of bird that exists in Central Park. So I'm gonna get me a little notebook, a little moleskine, and some binocs, and I think I'm gonna become a birder, guys.
Come out my way. I got a porch for you.
I would love that. And I know you got some serious binocs yourself, Matt, but hopefully, maybe with a little luck, if I'm hanging out in the middle Mississippi River region, maybe I'll spot the Piasa Bird. Let's talk about, we'll see. Yeah. Let's talk about the Piasa Bird. Gentlemen, Easy writes, long-time listener, first-time caller, so to speak, here. I always love a good cryptid episode, and I loved the recent one, but one of my favorites was missing, the Piasa Bird. If you've never heard of it, it is f***ing bad. Beat me there, Dylan. I think you must have already done it. Basically, ancient Native American paintings, especially one huge one of the thing, were found along the bluffs north of Alton, Illinois, when they were going to build a road beside the river, and it was preserved and touched up by Boy Scouts. That's cool, which is a bit sketchy on its own. Well, I guess fair enough. Maybe they're using child labor. But the painting, if you look it up, and I know you fellas love your research, is absolutely epic. To call this thing a chimera is an understatement. It's huge as a bison with deer antlers, a goat's beard, huge vulturish wings, gnarly teeth, and red eyes. I'm not saying this thing could take on a Thunderbird, but I'd pay to see that fight. Hey, we got two more competitors that have entered the ring of our bird game. Fighting game. Talk to Kyle about this, Ben. So here's where it gets interesting and or crazy. We don't really know much about this thing or who originally painted it. Much like the huge Native American city of Cahokia, I think that's right, very near Alton, Illinois, the native group responsible for the cave paintings were gone by the time they were rediscovered. In fact, as big as Cahokia was, stretching on both sides of the Mississippi from modern-day St. Louis to Collinsville, Illinois. It could even have some relation to Cahokia and the ancient mound builders, who I'm fairly certain I've heard you guys talk about before. That's accurate, Easy. Could it be, to borrow a phrase from the History Channel, that the ancient mound builders of North America knew of mythical beasts such as the Piasa Bird, which no one else had seen? And could it be this monster cryptid led to their demise? This is my History Channel voice. I don't know, guys. Sounds like fun to dive into. Maybe I'm just feeling nostalgic as a former rural Southwestern high school Piasa Bird. Oh, I love a good high school mascot. That's a good one. They have a pyrotechnic-fueled mascot, and it is fun. Extra fun. But I would love and appreciate if you did an episode on the Piasa Bird. Thanks. Easy. Easy. While we may not do a full episode on the Piasa Bird itself, it certainly could well be an entry into future cryptids you might not have heard of episodes. But we're going to talk about it right now. I had some luck looking up this very image and a good story from actually the Illinois State Museum's website. They've got a really interesting account from Louis Joliet from 1673, who was a woodsman and cartographer, and Father Jacques Marquette, who was a Jesuit priest. And they led the first European exploration of the middle Mississippi region that we're talking about here. And in his journal, Father Marquette described this pictograph that Easy mentions, which the expedition observed on the rocky bluffs above Alton, Illinois. And this is what he had to say. While skirting some rocks, which by their height and length inspired awe, we saw upon one of them two painted monsters, which at first made us afraid. I love the biblical cadence of this. And upon which the boldest savages dare not long rest their eyes. They are as large as a calf. They have horns on their heads, like those of a deer, a horrible look, red eyes, a beard like a tiger's, or a goat's, to Easy's point, a face somewhat like a man's, a body covered with scales, and so long a tail that it winds all around the body, passing above the head and going back between the legs, ending in a fish's tail. I don't think Easy mentioned that. Green, red, and black are the three colors composing the picture. Moreover, these two monsters are so well painted that we cannot believe that any, okay, this is problematic, but it's history, that any savage is their author. For good painters in France would find it difficult to reach that place conveniently to paint them. Here is approximately the shape of these monsters as we have faithfully copied it. And then they did a little sketch of what they saw. Pretty cool, guys. I had not heard of the Piasa Bird. Had either of you?
It's new to me.
I actually, Easy, I owe you an email. I had heard of this because we were researching our series on cryptids you haven't heard of, and the origin story, the provenance of it is fascinating, and I'm on the fence, folks. Matt, Noel, you guys, Dylan, tell me, do we want to hear the origin or do we want to save it? Because there are people with some strident opinions.
Oh, I think this is the perfect opportunity to hear about the origin. I just found that little snippet about the discovery of it, or one of the early discoveries and descriptions of it. But yeah, it seems like these the priest and the woodworker had very similar questions. Yeah.
So the good news, Easy, is that the bluff paintings are very much real. If you go to places like IllinoisHistory.com, you'll see that there are scholars who feel that, similar to the Jersey Devil story, something has been embellished and expanded upon. The one modern legend of it, let's put it that way, one modern legend comes from a 1800s era writer who was known for genre, romance, and adventure books. And he had a thing published in the Family magazine in 1836 called The Piasa, an Indian tradition of Illinois. And he essentially retells a legend, right? He retells an indigenous people's legend. And if you're the average reader, then of course it sounds like this guy is faithfully being an armchair historian. Apparently, this guy, John Russell, later in life goes to his son and says, I made up the story. I made up the story to sell some stuff. And it includes a lot of the things the earlier noted writers are saying. This is why I'm on the fence, because I don't think one guy mythologizing something means the entire possibility of a cryptid's existence is somehow therefore in question. You know, it got reprinted in so many newspapers of the day, and people started mistaking what the author himself said was fiction as fact, which happens. It's the game of telephone.
Well, yeah. I mean, you've got the original, quote, discovery of it, right? 1673, the first time it's written down, right? Somebody talks about it.
Documents
it makes its way to the Western world. Then you've got, over 150 years later, you've got Russell coming forward and writing out, as you said, Ben, recounting this tale of a creature that in fact killed a bunch of warriors and a chief and all that.
Could I read a snippet from the account? It's very, I mean, it's exciting. It's the stuff of novels for sure. Let's see. He says the name is Indian and signifies in the language of the Illini, the bird that devours men. He says the Piasa once terrorized Native American villages, killing many warriors before it was slain by the chief Oataga, who had offered himself as bait and had 20 warriors with poison arrows wait in ambush for the monster. When the Piasa swooped down to attack Oataga, it was killed by the barrage of poisoned arrows, thus saving the tribe. Russell added a little extra detail here. All the tribes of the upper Mississippi and those who have inhabited the valley of the Illinois. And Russell attributed this tale, continuation of an oral tradition established by, as he described, all the tribes of the upper Mississippi and those who have inhabited the valley of the Illinois. But you're right, Ben, it was totally proved to have been confabulated by this author. And another thing that's pretty interesting that I didn't realize when I was looking up pictures of it, I was like, gosh, that sure is vivid and modern looking. Well, it's because it is. The one that's there now, in place of the old one, which has worn away over time, it has been recreated. So as a very vibrant, rich looking recreation of this mythical creature on a cliff overlooking the Mississippi River north of Alton, Illinois.
Two things. First of all, Dylan, you saw this thing last year, you say?
Holy cow. Bury the lead, why don't you?
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat.
Dylan, you can either chat to us or you can say something, but you were physically there and you saw it?
Yeah, I saw it last summer.
Did it strike terror into your very heart?
Wait. Did you see the creature or did you see the depiction of the creature?
I saw the depiction of the creature. It was larger than I imagined it would be.
We'll get him next time, bud. Mm-hmm. Let's go on a road trip.
Yeah, we'll go birding. Let's go on a mythical birding expedition.
I would say if we were chasing after this creature, I don't think we're going birding, boys. I think we're going dragoning.
Monster hunting.
We're going caving.
Big time.
We're spelunking because Russell also, like the banger part of his story, Easy, is that he says not only is everything I said true, and he was, lying. He says at the end of his account, which is again syndicated, widely republished, he says, I found a cave in the nearby bluffs that was heavily littered with skulls and other bones. So he
the den of the monster.
So he pulled the Geraldo Rivera going into the vault kind of thing. And, despite the name, the Piasa doesn't really look like a bird. And I think he pulled a lot of his sources from pre-existing, obviously, traditions and stories. And he also, I don't want to say plagiarized, but he definitely drew inspiration from the 1833 autobiography of a warrior named Black Hawk. Yeah.
I mean, to me, this thing really has the look of a traditional griffin almost, but larger. And I think the horns are maybe extra. But it doesn't have a beak. But still, the wings, the scales, the talons, and the kind of dog-like face. I guess griffins more have an eagle-like face, but still, it definitely feels like a mishmash of different mythological creatures, whether from Native American culture or beyond. So thanks, Easy, for hipping us to the Piasa Bird, and thanks, Dylan, for having gone to see it and telling us about it, that it was large.
I found the cave where the dastardly Piasa Bird was
I
rummaging
know.
through skulls.
This is
I
from the
know
diary
where the
of Dylan.
bastard sleeps.
Yes, indeed.
I know where the bastard sleeps.
From the diary of Dylan
you're-
Fagan.
Dylan, you're my favorite Keanu Reeves.
It's true.
I know Kung Fu.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, hear a word from our sponsor, and then come back with more listener mail.
And we've returned. Guys, we are going to jump to an older message because we're still getting through the ones from February. This one comes from, well, I'm going to let them say their name because it's one of my favorite names that we've had come through in quite a while. And it is in response to something we're very familiar with.
Hey there, folks. This is Noble Grand Humbug Baby Bird.
Perfect. All right, welcome.
To your internet theory episode, and it couldn't help but remind me of working at the post office. What was that inversion point where, what point is it just bots feeding off of bots and algorithms feeding off of algorithms? We're at the point at the post office where all these automated systems play together. It doesn't matter if you actually do your job. It only matters if the systems think that you've done something. For example, I work at a very rural post office, and we're lucky if we get one paying customer a day at this point. And it's all the same people that come in, buy a stamp or whatever. We're supposed to get surveys. There's a little QR code on the bottom of the receipt. You're supposed to take the survey. Well, your phone can only take one per month. So they're expecting a whole bunch of different people to come in and take surveys, but we do not have that kind of community here. We have very few people. So we get phone calls from the people up top saying that, hey, you guys haven't got your survey for the week yet, to the point where we have to buy stuff from the post office, buy a stamp from the post office that we work at, just survey, to stop the people up top from reading the computer and saying, you guys haven't had a survey yet. So it very much reminds me of just bots feeding off of bots. Doesn't actually matter what we're doing here. If we do our job, it only matters that the survey gets taken. Doesn't even matter if the survey is good or bad. It just matters if it happened or not. Thanks, guys. Take care. Have fun.
Take care. Have fun.
Perfect. let's try to do both. Oh man, so we're talking about Noble Grand Humbug Baby Bird. We're talking about the idea of dead internet theory a little bit here.
Oh yeah, he is. That's what he was listening to that inspired him to call, right? Just this concept that as numbers especially get strange and large on the internet, if you're talking about social media, if you're talking about page views, talking about all of the metrics that corporations and advertisers use to measure the success of something. Like, what happens, as we talked about in that episode, when it's just stuff being input there to make the numbers look good rather than the actual things that would be worth buying, let's say, as an advertiser.
Just two empty mirrors reflecting absence to infinity. Yeah. I'm sorry, I was laughing during the message there too. No, NGHBB, because I just love the approach there and the Heller-esque catch-22 acknowledgement of how silly some systems can be, and saying that as a huge proponent and supporter of the U.S. Postal Service.
Oh, for sure. What's the slogan?
Rain, sleet, hail.
Whether rain or sleet or something, it's just screw it. You're getting your mail, dude.
Can I just say though, I think I mentioned this to Ben actually when I was texting. I ordered something and I didn't realize this at the time, but it was shipped via the U.S. Postal Service, and it was just like this small little digital recorder thing that I got from this audio production music store kind of company, online company, and it took about 2.5 weeks to get to me from the United States, from the middle states. I don't know what's going on with the post office, guys, but it doesn't seem very good.
Seems really weird. It also just, thinking more and more about this, just this concept of using a survey as the feedback system. I don't know if you guys, get surveys with stuff you do
all the time.
Yeah. It seems like it's with every service or purchase you make, there's a survey associated. And then like 7 emails reminding you to take that survey that you ignored, that you're not going to ever take, but you're still going to get emails about.
All right, Matt, I'll put it to you this way. And also for you, humbug baby, if I could be a little bit familiar. The thing with surveys, I don't know, maybe it's like the Boy Scout volunteerism stuff, but if there's a person associated with it, like if I had to sit on the phone with someone and I know that it can help them in the future, no matter what happens, unless they're just an absolute pill or an absolute drip, then I will go to the mat on that survey. I'll be like, not only is this a 10/10 customer service rep, but you should promote them immediately. I was gonna, I'll even embellish, just like our guy with the Piasa Bird. I'll be like, I was gonna, get out of this company altogether, but Janine changed my mind.
Ben is single-handedly responsible for more promotions and customer support than any single human being in the United States of America.
Yes.
Too kind.
Thank you for doing the good work, Ben.
But you do surveys, right? We all do.
No, I really don't.
Matt is staunchly anti-survey.
I really
Wow,
I've done it a few times. When I purchased my home, I used several contractors that I gave surveys to because I thought that very thing. What I'm maybe skeptical of is the thing that Noble Grand Humbug Baby Bird is talking about, where it doesn't matter what the feedback is. It just matters the metrics that people are responding, right?
Right,
There's
like X percentage engaged.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I think about, especially with larger corporations or some of the places that I get the constant survey from, no matter what I do, even like a doctor's office or something. Like, what? Why do you want to? Okay.
I hear you, because at some point too, especially in larger systems, it may be someone's entire job. And so they have to, defend that by saying, of X amount of people engaging with our service, Z amount responded to the survey. And as long as that's above a certain threshold, then I'm good. You know what I mean? Don't reorg me.
Yeah. Well, because how do you get a comment, right, on a video? Somebody either likes it enough that they want to interact with the creators of the video in some way, right, imagining that they're talking to the creator, or somebody hates something enough or is offended by something or angry about something enough that they will post a comment. And you have to imagine that's probably the same with, this kind of survey. It's somebody like Ben who wants to do good for someone, right? Like, I really enjoyed that. Thank you. I appreciate you. Or it's somebody saying, this was the worst experience of my life. I'm never using your corporation again, and go away. And I fart in your general direction.
Right. It encourages extremes of the bell curve.
Yeah. And maybe theoretically you could use some small bits of feedback to improve your business. But I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Because think about the people that take surveys, the number of people that respond to a survey, and then how that shapes the data you collect.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure all of us in the audience tonight, especially in the U.S., have received cold text messages asking you to respond to some sort of survey or voice some kind, usually a political opinion of some sort. I don't respond to those. Maybe we should. I don't know. We talked in the past about how we're all getting weird text. One of the things that I think stuck out to all of us here with your message, Humbug Baby, again, if I may be familiar, is the fact that you work at the post office and you have to take the survey and you have to spend your own money to buy a stamp so you can do the survey again. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, that is what has been stated here.
They can't just what? Why?
Yeah.
Why can't
you know what?
Yeah.
Let's go further.
All right.
Noble Bird, if I may.
If we may be so familiar.
You can just take 2 from there. Grand Baby. How I would like to know specifically how much of the correspondence that flows through your post office is some kind of paid flyer or, just the junk mail
Garbage. Absolutely.
that companies pay a lot of money to both print, package, and then send out. But like, how much of the post office is now propped up by just corporations trying to get the word out?
And my question too is like, it must work on somebody or else they wouldn't do it. Because it is expensive, like you said, but I'm like, who are the people that these random flyers that come in the mail like work on so effectively? I don't understand.
You guys got to get into persona hacking, demographic hacking. Make sure, leverage I love where we're going here, because we're also starting to argue that something similar to dead internet theory may apply to physical mail in the USPS, right? So if that's possible, then it means it is likewise logically possible, and I don't think there's anything ethically wrong with this, to sort of position your postal address to receive very specific, flyers from some regular company. Like start getting those weird catalogs for fancy watches that you're never going to order. Start getting those invitations to weird cruises or, space exploration trips that you might never take. And now all of a sudden, the next time the eye of state surveillance Sauron focuses on you, it'll say, "Oh, not that guy. He's clearly a 1%er despite living in this apartment."
Like shell persona roommates that hang out with you wherever you live at your address. So you've got stuff coming in for Don Credible. That's his name. Don Credible. And
Don Credible.
That guy's a real stand-up though. Don Credible. Bull noun, right?
There you go.
Nilwab Neb, right?
Yeah.
Bowling with a G. Yeah.
I love it. I really like that idea. See,
that
you can
last
help
part's
out.
a little illegal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a little illegal.
Oh, man. But you could associate a name with an address just on like various online forums where you don't need to have an ID or anything. And then
you could be mistaken. You know what I mean? My bad.
I can have virtual roommates if I want to. This is America, okay?
Don Credible is real to me, Your Honor.
Yeah.
I do like the court case there. But it is that gets us to it reminds me a little bit of what was that excellent Gravity's Rainbow? Do you guys remember that one?
It's one that's notoriously hard to finish. People that finish it say it's weird.
It's
to get to the
weird.
end of the rainbow is hard.
It's like Infinite Jest. It's like one of those books that's just notoriously like a little bit of a slog, but supposedly quite rewarding if you get there. Is that Thomas Pynchon?
Yes. Yeah, you're correct.
Pynchon?
Yes.
I think
yes,
it's Pynchon,
yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Well, the reason we're bringing it up there is just because if we could be so familiar, Grand Hum Baby, if we could be so familiar, that novel has this thing about a secret conspiratorial postal service. And what you were saying there, Matt, inspires me to return to that idea. There was, if I could tell a tale out of school that might be interesting to our baby bird here, for a while, her friend Matt lived near this amazing bookstore that had something very like a pension secret post going on. In the basement of this bookstore, there was and you remember this, there was a tiny corner that had all these zines and revolutionary propaganda and ways for people to communicate with each other outside of social media. Now, increasingly, that's a thing, the big guys don't like, but I love seeing places like that.
Yeah. Shh. Don't tell anyone, Ben.
Okay. It's just between us, millions of people in the NSA.
Yeah. Shh. Do not look for the zines beneath the cat's lair somewhere in Chambly. You'll find it. And then you can go have a nice hookah right next door.
Oh, right.
There you go.
You love that place. Do also to this question, guys, to the story that Grand Noble of the Baby Birds is bringing up here. Do we think it is possible to your earlier point, Noel, that these companies engaging in mass marketing via post, is it possible that they could support the post office such that you don't need human to human correspondence anymore?
Yeah, I don't know. It does feel like the post office is less and less relevant given other options that are more efficient. But at the end of the day, I had to send a certified letter the other day, and you have to do that through the post office. Does maybe UPS or FedEx have a equivalent to certified mail, or is that strictly in the domain of the post office? I guess so. I guess you can send anything and get a tracking number. That's all it is. So maybe I just answered my own question. But I do kind of wonder, of all the agencies that are like being stripped right now and dismantled and stuff, like, well, then again, though, it is affordable, I guess, and it is sort of a right to be able to send things through the mail. I don't know.
I feel like it depends on the degree of certification. Like certified mail is the legal threshold is USPS.
Yes, correct. And can I just say, I am not advocating for the dismantling of the Postal Service. For any postal workers out there, we appreciate your work. And if it feels like it's an organization that has dealt with a lot of staffing shortages and equipment issues and things like that. So I know it's not an easy job. And I absolutely appreciate my mail carrier that comes and drops off, those trash items in addition to some very important items from time to time. I just do wonder, like, what is the long outlook for something like the Postal Service?
And we do hope you put out a new album soon.
Also true. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think that was a one-off.
No, it will happen.
Okay.
Guys, I had this vision as we're talking here. So when these companies send out this piece of automated mail, generally, they want you to take action somewhere online, right? They want you to take some kind of computerized action. Some
Preferably
digital
financial.
Work.
Yeah. Right.
Well, yeah, but digital work, right?
Sure.
So when we connect it back to the dead internet theory, a lot of those systems are automated already to get the mail printed and then to you. Then there's theoretically very soon all of these digital assistants and all of these things that are being created for the consumer that will automate all of that stuff. That's coming and that is happening right now.
Yeah.
There will be this thing where it's just robots sending you things physically through the mail that your robots will read and either reject or take action on, even if it's something important that you need to take action on.
Yeah. Wasn't this let's spin it out. Let's game it through, dude. So, I believe we talked about this, an evening years back, the possibility, the end spectrum horizon possibility of this is a world in which, for one reason or another, no physical humans exist. It is a dead planet human-wise. However, the systems that the humans built are still playing with each other. And the agglomeration of call and response between these different systems emulates human activity. Such that if aliens were to land, right, or ancient astronauts were to return or whatever, they would maybe figure out how to look at a server and would say, well, yeah, there are billions of people who don't really exist. And guess what? They're super busy. They hang out and send mail all the time. I guess you just need to get a couple of physical robots, like hardware, that could empty the mailbox there at the end of the world.
Whoa. I'm just going to visualize that for a while.
Ray Bradbury has a great short story about a house in that situation.
Speaking of Ray Bradbury, last night I was looking for something to watch and stumbled upon Ray Bradbury Theater, a show from the 80s that is very, very 80s or maybe it's late 70s even, but I'd never seen Ray Bradbury as a human before. And
when he's typing on the typewriter?
Yeah, he's typing and he's surrounded by all this weird ephemera and he's saying, I look around and I get a story idea from the creepy doll in the corner or whatever. And it's so goofy and kind of ham-fisted. And I always thought of him as this mythical creature. And it was a little funny to see that he's just a dorky old man like every other great author. No, not every, but it was very interesting to see.
It's like seeing that guy do the frozen peas commercial. Who was that? Remember?
You're talking about Orson Welles?
Orson Welles.
Absolutely. He did many a weird commercial, dude.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, and was often quite drunk. There's one he did for like a wine company. I almost want to say that bit in Schitt's Creek where Moira Rose is doing this wine ad and she keeps drinking the wine and getting drunker and drunker. I almost want to say they got the idea for that from this Orson Welles thing. Look it up. You can see the outtakes. It is wild. He is tanked.
He's a great director, too.
Great director, great actor, polymath, genius. Very incorrigible, weird old dude. Have we talked about F is for Fake? His kind of faux documentary about magic and art forgery?
I have not.
You guys would both very much enjoy it, and folks in the audience, I think, would too. It's just like it's about the line between reality and misdirection, I guess. And he narrates it, and parts of it are documentary, but parts of it are fiction. And it's sort of about blurring the line between the two. And art forgery is a big part of it, and magic, stage magic. It's a really, really weird and interesting film that he made later in his life.
Wow, guys, I am thinking it's a sign that the freckles in our eyes.
Stop it.
Okay.
Our mirror images. And when they, what is it? When they touch, they're perfectly aligned. When we kiss.
It's when we kiss. Yeah.
When we kiss, they're perfectly aligned.
All right. Thank you so much, Noble Grand Humbug Baby Bird, for calling us and letting us know what's going on down at the postal office. We're going to head out for now, but you will be seeing us waving from such great heights. We'll be right back after
Come down now.
Our sponsor.
Come down now.
They'll say.
Yeah. While wagging their finger.
And we have returned with the final act of our weekly listener mail segment. Guys, we got so much input or response from our conversation about astrology in the government, our series that focused on some historical precedent in the United States, as well as some events more recently in Myanmar. And, candidly, we want to approach something like astrology with great care, right? With great diplomacy, because we do know it means quite a lot to quite a few people. And there's another contingent of people who find it somehow offensive, right? So we hope that we did right by everybody in the gang with giving you, the facts as they stand and the ways in which world powers do use astrology. In that discourse, as a result, we had a lot of great correspondence with people who picked up the torch that we passed and said, well, let me think through, a possible way to scientifically prove some grain of truth through astrology. We alluded to some of our own theories about it for our fellow conspiracy realists who wrote to us. We shared those theories. We're having, spoiler, some pretty fascinating conversations about artificial intelligence, quote unquote, and the idea of horoscopes. Thought we'd share one piece of correspondence from a fellow listener who reached out to us and just gave us like their perspective on not just astrology in the government, but astrology in humanity. Before we do that, guys, horoscopes for AI, are we on to something?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Okay. Yeah. Before we get to Sam's letter. All right. So in that overly thorough thing I kept sending, the idea here, or our basis, our thought experiment, assumes that gravity is unknowable, right? And people still don't understand two things: gravity and the development of the human brain, especially in the gestative or fetal stages. So is it therefore then possible that certain minuscule gravitational effects from the position of heavenly bodies could somehow affect the development of the human brain? And from there, we naturally spun the question out, gamed it out to ask, if that is the case, then could gravitational effects that are ostensibly minuscule, could they have an effect on the development of AI or non-human minds? Fun at parties.
Okay. I'm just needing a minute to unwrap that. Matt, seems like you're quicker in the draw than me.
Well, so the idea is that the gravitational effects could affect the humans, who are then affecting the creation of the artificial intelligence.
Ooh, I didn't think about that. That's a good one. I was thinking more directly the idea that if a non-organic mind reaches past a certain threshold of sophistication, could its hardware be influenced by gravitational effects such that it might affect the tendencies or the disposition matrix of that mind?
I feel like I'm reading directly out of Ben Boland's theory on determining the possible scientific basis of astrology.
All right. We could get a better title.
No.
We could get a better title.
It's like a scientific paper. I'm looking at it right now. Holy mackerel.
Well, just think through it. Horoscopes for AI. I feel like that's interesting. But with this in mind, I'm just, as always, eternally hungry for your thoughts. Guys, Sam wrote to us, Uncle Sam, wrote to us and said, "Hey, Uncle Sam here. I wanted to share a few thoughts with you regarding those episodes about astrology. First thought about Reagan. In addition to the astrology, I remember reading that Ronald also believed the world was going to end, or at least that civilization was going to collapse in the year 2000. The year 2000. And he based his policies on this belief. Do you know if there's any merit to this? Have you guys ever heard that?"
No.
I haven't either. Was he maybe one of those folks who are, there's a certain contingent of folks who are religiously driven to hasten the apocalypse? We've talked about those guys in the past.
Well, maybe he was trying to stop it. That's why he, took down that wall.
Maybe he did.
Maybe he did stop it.
Maybe. I don't know. I wonder if, because he was definitely into the whole American ideology of a city on the hill, right? And standing stalwart against the evils of the world. And he definitely seemed to be a religious dude, but I don't know how far it goes. Would you want to have a president who is convinced the world's going to end on a specific date? That's a little culty.
Yeah, but okay. And again, no disparagement to anybody or anybody's religious beliefs, but there's a certain doomsday philosophy wrapped up in certain sects of Christianity, certain, evangelical wings. And we've certainly had high level politicians and, presidents that kind of go in for that kind of stuff. I don't see how it's that much different.
Yeah. I think that's an astute observation. We'd love to hear your thoughts, Reaganites, or anybody who met Ronnie firsthand. I want to thank on air Noel again for getting the etymology of the Gipper for us, which I was not aware of at the time. We have another thought from Uncle Sam who says, "My second thought is regarding astrology. I want to make the argument that it is not completely hocus pocus. To be clear, I'm not saying daily horoscopes are accurate predictions or anything of the sort. I would like to take a step back and consider the possibilities in a logical, and I'm going to say it, scientifically based manner. And so with this, and we'll cut a little bit for time. With this, Uncle Sam, you provide several links to some fascinating studies, one by the National Center for Atmospheric Research, one by the good folks at Columbia University, and the study from Columbia is interesting because it finds correlations between the month a person is born in and the health conditions they will later develop.
Well, Ben, we certainly know that there are forces at work from celestial bodies that govern things like the tides. And, we've even seen examples with women's, menstrual cycles having to do with lunar cycles as well. Or again, I'm sorry, I'm sort of like being a little general, but I would put forth, is it that much of a stretch to believe that there are forces exerting themselves on us and on our fragile fetuses, at certain times of the year that could make changes? I don't know. I think it's certainly a valid thing to consider.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. Because that thing I was talking about is about the possibility of maybe gravitational effects on a developing human brain. So it's worth looking into, is it not? And Uncle Sam says the hypothesis is that humans have been observing the world for thousands of years, the weather, the atmosphere, the astronomical arrangements, as a species. Says Uncle Sam, I would submit there exists a wealth of communal knowledge. At some point in time, our ancestors started to log data points or data, your mileage is up to you, and started to notice recurring patterns, and then started to predict certain aspects of life, like when was the best time to plant crops, when was the best time to harvest those crops. Over time, these points become common knowledge. Folks start to notice patterns. They start to correlate patterns, and these correlations go beyond their crops. Correlations like children born in late spring typically grew up to be the healthiest. People born in late autumn more likely to have mental health problems, etc. And so, with all this in mind, Uncle Sam says, is it so far-fetched to suggest that earlier humans found cycles and patterns to also have a significant correlation with attributes and behaviors of their fellow human beings? There's a lot more to it, but I want to get us to a point you make here, Uncle Sam. You say, to wit, I believe that at some point in the future, a bunch of dedicated astrologists will load every data set they can find, from as far back as they can find, into an artificial intelligence program that compares astrology to real-world data sets and spits out a model that has an accuracy rate above 50%, which would make it scientifically significant and make it legit.
I'm stuck in daily horoscopes and I'm clicking through them, trying to find things that correlate to what you're saying so that I can have a call out to our horoscope, but none of them are, they're so varied on all these sites.
Keep them there. All right.
Sorry.
What are the, okay. Well, as a group of Leos, as a pride of Lions,
yes.
What do we got?
I don't know. I found out Chris Hemsworth is born right around the same time that we are. I don't know.
No, that checks out.
They're talking about retrograding Venus and all kinds of stuff that doesn't make sense, guys. But hey, we may discover a talent that we've been neglecting. It has a resurgence, and it's going to bring us more money, is what it says.
One of the things, speaking of fortune telling and stuff, one of the things that I always do when I'm abroad, especially in I'll just say it. Like when I end up in Japan, there are all these shrines where they will give you a fortune for a very small amount of money, and I've just stopped opening them. I carry them around, and if someone's having a bad day, then I will give them a fortune. And
you should do the same thing with the magic cards.
I knew you were going to say it, but they're for you.
They're for, you as in anyone
general
listening.
You. Right. Okay. It's for you as in the people of Bald Knob, Queensland. This is our segue here, little letter from home. Cleanse the palate, have some fun in these our challenging times. Guys, Black Sheep wrote to us and said, greetings, chaps. Condolences on the collapse of your once proud nation. Black Sheep, yeah, I know. It's that Australian humor for you. Black Sheep is the name, and educating Americans about Australia is my game. Please find attached a list of places you should visit when you come down under. Please be sure to have a live session in either Sydney or Melbourne, or pronounce it correctly, to convince your suits that you can make a buck on the tour. Now we've just got this crazy list of Australia's worst place names. Did you guys see this?
Give it to us. I can't wait. Want to hear it cold.
I saw this randomly somewhere else, and I don't know. This must be in the zeitgeist. This is a great list.
Let's just round robin it. Now we're going to start at the top. We're going to read these as quickly as possible. Maybe
these aren't real.
Maybe we do rounds of 5.
Are these really real?
All right. Well,
holy cow. I'm just looking at this for the first time.
Here we
Jesus.
There's going to be a lot of beeps.
Australia's worst place names.
No beeps needed. These are real places.
We're going to give you the town names, not the wider thing, just for time. Okay. I'll kick us off. We'll do 5 at a time. Bald Knob, Big Dick Boar, Big Knob Waterhole, Bonar Street, Boobs Flat, Booby Island.
Boomer's Bottom, Bottom Hole, Breakwind Reserve, Bullshit Hill, Bum 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 Creek. That's my favorite. I want to live in Bum Bum Creek.
Well, I'll start
Matt,
with the next
you gotta
one.
do it, baby.
do it,
It's all
man.
you.
I guess I'll say it.
I did
kids,
6. Yeah, I did 6 to push you into this one purposely.
Kids, close your ears. Burnt Pussy Mine, Chapman's Knob, Cockwash, Dancing Dick's Creek, Dead Woman's Hole.
Dead Woman's Hole.
And then, of course, there's Diaper, Dirty Dick Creek, Double Knob, Finger Buttress, Funny Knob Creek, and Goat Knob. Lots of knobs.
We got Gray Dick Hill, Groper Grotto. Come on. That's in the Playboy Mansion.
It's one of my favorites.
Guy.
How? How is this a name?
Guy's Dirty Hole. Hopping Dick's Creek, Hooker Park, Horny Point, Horse Knob, Horse Cocks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here you go. Inaloo, Intercourse Island,
Ooh,
Licking
that sounds-
Hole.
Intercourse Island should be like a reality show.
I think it is. I think that was a joke thing. I feel like I've heard Intercourse Island before.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You said Licking Hole?
Yeah, Licking Hole. I want to say Nick Kroll is involved with Intercourse Island. I might
Well, then
be
it's,
wrong.
you know what? It's
Yeah,
probably
he's
like
always
one of his
involved.
sketches on Kroll Show, maybe.
I might be wrong. Licking Hole, as you said, Lovely Bottom, Mingerwell, Mingerwell.
No, it's Minger,
Minger.
for being naughty about it. That was
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But don't forget Mossy Nipple Bend.
How could I ever? That's where I met my first love.
And where would you be without? Look, let's just cut this because we promised we would get some fun U.S. names to you, Black Shepe. So we do want to give a shout out to all the good folks in Tittybong, Titwobble Lane, Soily Bottom Point, Shaving Holes Creek.
Wait, these are in America?
No, these are all in Australia, and of course Mount Buggery.
Stinkhole. You didn't mention. You can't forget Stinkhole. We've also got the butts and the nipples. This is ridiculous. You just gave us. They forged this so that we'd say naughty things on our PG-13 podcast.
So fair is fair. Quid pro quo, Clarice. We're going to give you and all of our Australian listeners some fun names from U.S. towns. Welcome to Satan's Kingdom, Massachusetts. There's also Ding Dong, Texas, Handsome Eddie, New York. That guy's a legend. And then Why Not, North Carolina.
Hey,
One word.
I don't want to.
Why not?
Shout out to my hometown, Cumming,
Georgia. I was talking about Cumming earlier. too.
Cumming is number one on 10 tiny American towns with unbelievably obscene names. On
It's not so
Listiverse.
tiny.
There's-
It's not tiny.
There's Toad Suck. And Cumming is also the home of the KKK.
These are not nearly as cool, though. Got it. That's true.
Yeah.
As the Australian ones. We've got Climax, Michigan, Hooker, Oklahoma.
Accident, Maryland.
We do have Intercourse, Pennsylvania. It's not
Yep.
an island, though. And Hornytown, North Carolina. Spread Eagle, Wisconsin is one of my personal favorites.
I like Frankenstein, Missouri, and I hope they're really leaning into that.
Really quickly, I just found another site that's got a bunch more. Briny Breezes. These are all in Florida. Bunker Donation. Fluffy Landing. Some of these are just silly. Need More, Florida. Georgia, there's a place called Balls Ferry and Boneville. And of course, Butts, Cumming, Experiment, Faceville, Flippin', Gumlog, Hard Up, Lumpkin, and Piles Marsh. And that's it for me, y'all.
And then, of course, since we're already on, we can't leave Slick Poo, Idaho, and Hell, Michigan off the map there. So we'd love to hear your favorite town names. Also, while we are wrapping up tonight's listener mail segment, I have a question for Tennessee Pal. Dylan, what is doof doof music?
Doof doof music is 4 on the floor dance music, supposedly. Doof 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 doof.
Boots and Cats, also known as Boots and Cats.
There we
Yeah.
go.
It was
Okay.
very confusing. But yes, I do enjoy doof doof music.
You heard it here first, folks. That's why we tune in for the breaking journalism of the day. We want to hear from you. Big thanks, of course, to Sam, Black Shepe, Noble Grand Humbug, Baby Bird, and EZ. Tell us what's on your mind. Give us thoughts for something that you think your fellow listeners would enjoy in an upcoming episode of Stuff They Don't Want You to Know. Find us on a telephone, drop us a line to the void, or find us on the other lines, the lines that are on the
Indeed.
internet.
That's right. Intercourse. No, that's a city. You can find us at the handle Conspiracy Stuff, where we exist on Facebook with our Facebook group. Here's where it gets crazy. Share some more dirty city names the world over. We want to hear from you. There's a great community there on that group on Facebook, so get in on the conversation. You can also find us at Conspiracy Stuff on X, FKA Twitter, and on YouTube, where we have video content galore for your perusing enjoyment. You can find us at the handle Conspiracy Stuff Show, however, on Instagram and or TikTok. But wait, there's more.
We have a phone number. It is 1-833-STDWYTK. When you call in, give yourself a cool nickname and let us know if we can use your name and message on the air. Tell us about your hometown and whether or not it's got a weird name. What's it known for? Is there anything weird going on in that
do
town?
you have a weird museum?
Yeah. By the way, Cumming, Georgia, also home of Flash of Crimson Band from Forsyth Central, not just the KKK. All right.
Good to know. KKK. Good to
if
know.
you got more to say than could fit in a voicemail, why not instead send us a good old-fashioned email? We are
The entities that read every piece of correspondence we receive. And hey, you can just hit us on the email anytime. Whatever your preferred method of communication is, we can all see it. We can all respond. Would love to hear your favorite doof music. We'd also... Doof, it's killing me. We'd also love to hear town names. We'd love to hear your thoughts on horoscopes, AI, and just the weirdest thought experiments you can come up with. Join us out here in the dark. Conspiracy at iHeartRadio.com.
Stuff They Don't Want You to Know is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.